June 27, 1985 was a Thursday. Unremarkable weather, unremarkable news. Somewhere in America, a family was loading suitcases into a station wagon. A diner cook was flipping eggs. A motel owner was hanging a vacancy sign in a window that faced a two-lane road. And on that same Thursday, with almost no announcement and almost no ceremony, one of the most important roads in the history of this country was erased from the map. Without much fanfare, the mother road was removed from the United States highway system. Just like that. No eulogy, no final drive, no goodbye. The signs came down, and most people didn't even notice. To understand what was lost, you have to understand what Route 66 actually felt like to drive. Not the mythology, not the nostalgia, the actual experience. You'd pull out of Chicago early in the morning, the city behind you, the road ahead, narrow, 2 lanes, rising and falling with the actual shape of the land. Route 66 rises and falls with the land. It goes around obstacles. It didn't blast through the country in a straight line. It wove through it, town by town, valley by valley. Every 100 miles or so, a gas station would appear, then a diner, then a motel with a neon sign that buzzed and flickered in the desert dark. You'd stop, because you had to, because the road invited it. You'd sit at a counter and eat pie you didn't plan to eat, in a town you'd never heard of, talking to a man you'd never meet again. And somehow, that was the point. Unlike the interstate highway system, Route 66 passed directly through communities rather than around them. That single difference changed everything about what travel meant. At its peak, and the peak was extraordinary, Route 66 was not a road, it was an ecosystem. Roadside diners and motels thrived as crafty entrepreneurs dreamed up ways to part motorists from their money. There were rattlesnake pits, totem poles, trading posts, caverns where Old West outlaws purportedly hung out, and neon was everywhere. Everywhere you looked, someone had built something strange and wonderful, just to make you slow down. The road passed through 8 states. It crossed 3 time zones. Measuring some 2,400 miles in its heyday, Route 66 stretched from Chicago, Illinois to Santa Monica, California. And every mile of it was somebody's livelihood. Gas station owners, motel families, diner cooks who'd been working the same counter since before the war. Small-town mayors whose entire economy ran on the steady stream of passing cars. More than 500,000 people left the southern Great Plains during the 1930s, most heading to California. The road fed them, sheltered them, carried them west towards something that felt like hope. And after the war, it became something else entirely. It became the road you took for joy. But before the diners and the neon and the family vacations, this road had a heavier purpose. Route 66 was the scene of a mass westward migration during the 1930s, when more than 200,000 people traveled from the poverty-stricken Dust Bowl to California. Farmers who had lost everything. Families with everything they owned, packed into trucks that barely ran. And John Steinbeck watched them pass. Steinbeck referred to Route 66 as the Mother Road in his novel, The Grapes of Wrath, symbolizing escape and hope for displaced families. The Mother Road, not the most scenic road, not the fastest road, the Mother Road, the one that held you when you had nowhere else to go. That name stuck, because it was true. Now here's where the story actually begins. November 11, 1926, a man named Cyrus Avery, a highway commissioner from Oklahoma, had been fighting for years to connect his state to the rest of the country. He wanted a road that didn't go around the small towns. He wanted one that went through them. The diagonal course of Route 66 linked hundreds of mostly rural communities to the cities along its route, allowing farmers to more easily transport grain and other types of produce for distribution. And then came the number. Avery chose 66 deliberately. He knew the number would be ripe for marketing and could be seared into drivers' minds. He was right about that. Route 66 served as part of the route of the Bunyan Derby, a foot race from Los Angeles to New York City. Americans were also encouraged to take the highway on their way to the 1932 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The road was being promoted before it was even fully paved. In 1938, Route 66 became the first completely paved United States highway. And what came next? nobody could have predicted. The 1950s were Route 66's golden age. The war was over. American factories had switched back to making cars instead of tanks. Families had money and time, and a restlessness that only a long, open road could satisfy. The 1950s and 60s saw a surge in automobile travel, and the highway was lined with motels, diners, gas stations, and roadside attractions. It became synonymous with road trips and American car culture. In 1946, a songwriter named Bobby Troup drove Route 66 from Pennsylvania to California. Somewhere along the way, he wrote a song about it. Nat King Cole recorded it that same year, then Bing Crosby, then Chuck Berry, then the Rolling Stones. From 1960 to 1964, a television series of the same name featured two adventurers who cruised the highway in a Chevrolet Corvette sports car. Route 66 wasn't just a road anymore. It was a feeling. And then, right at the height of it, the beginning of the end arrived. President Dwight Eisenhower had seen something in Germany during the war. A road system unlike anything America had. Wide, fast, efficient. Built for speed, not scenery. Built for distance, not discovery. Dreaming of similar roads in America, he signed the Interstate Highway Act in 1956. The law didn't kill Route 66 immediately. Nothing dies that fast. But the new interstates were built to bypass the small towns, not pass through them. They were engineered for efficiency, for getting somewhere as fast as possible. The interstate highways were designed to travel long distances in the shortest amount of time possible, without much consideration given to who or what the highway was bypassing or cutting through. The diner on the edge of a small town in Oklahoma, the one that had fed travelers for 20 years, suddenly found itself half a mile from the nearest exit ramp. Then a mile, then invisible. Traffic slowed, then stopped. Doors that had been open since the Depression quietly closed, and the towns those doors belonged to began to hollow out. But Route 66 did not go quietly. The towns along it fought back. Businesses filed lawsuits, city councils passed resolutions, residents staged protests. They knew what was coming, and they refused to accept it. People in Williams, Arizona were so upset about losing Route 66 that they actually took up arms and shot at the bulldozers and machinery, creating the interstate to try and dissuade people from building it through their community. They shot at the bulldozers, men and women standing at the edge of their town, watching a machine erase the road that had given them a life, and fighting it the only way they knew how. It didn't work. The decline of roadside businesses was accelerated by the 1965 Highway Beautification Act, which restricted roadside advertising along interstate highways, making it more difficult for travelers to locate businesses on older alignments. First, the traffic disappeared, then the signs, then the reason to stop at all. By the late 1970s, most of Route 66 had already been bypassed in some form. By 1977, the route had ceased to exist in Illinois. State by state, section by section, a road being erased in slow motion. The final stretch of the original Route 66, located in Williams, Arizona, was bypassed in October 1984. And on June 27, 1985, it was gone. The American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials decertified the road and voted to remove all its highway signs. 59 years, 8 states, 2,400 miles. Gone in a meeting that most Americans never heard about. What replaced Route 66 wasn't one highway. It was the entire premise of modern travel. Get on, get off. No stops unless you need fuel. No towns unless you planned ahead. No conversations with strangers. No unexpected pie. By the 1980s, Americans were more concerned with speed, efficiency, and reaching destinations as quickly as possible. The slow-paced road trips and roadside attractions, once central to Route 66's charm, became less appealing in a society increasingly focused on productivity and convenience. The journey stopped being the point. The destination became everything. And somewhere in that shift, something was quietly surrendered. The diner counter that used to have 5 strangers sharing a pot of coffee now sat empty. The motel with the hand-painted sign that said vacancy now had boards on the windows. The gas station where a man named Earl had worked for 30 years closed. The town that had built itself around the road, slowly, silently, began to disappear. Some smaller towns even faded away along with the route. Not dramatically, not overnight, just fewer lights on in the windows each year. But this was never really just about a road. Not truly. Route 66 was a philosophy of travel. It was the belief that the journey itself was the destination, that stopping mattered, that talking to strangers mattered, that a country is not just something you pass through, it is something you experience slowly at ground level, with your windows down. Each town has its own history and magic, not the towns the interstate was designed to reach, the towns in between, the ones that existed for no other reason than that a road once passed through them, and people needed to stop, and a man named Earl built a gas station, and a woman named Margaret opened a diner next door, and for 50 years, travelers and locals met each other there. That is what the interstate bypassed, not the towns, the meetings. Today, drivers can still use 85% of the road. The signs are back. Different signs now, brown and historic, marking something preserved rather than used. And people still come, from all over the world. This is not a road for America. This is the world's road. Foreign travelers arrive by the thousands, driving slowly through small Arizona towns, in Texas Panhandle straightaways, looking for something they can feel but not quite name. They're looking for the version of America where you couldn't be in a hurry, where the road forced you to slow down, where the country revealed itself to you one gas station, one diner, one hand-painted sign at a time. Route 66 turns 100 years old this year, 1926 to 2026. A century, and the road is still there, underneath us. Underneath the bypasses and the interstates and the exits built for efficiency. If you look carefully in certain places, you can still see the old asphalt, cracked, overgrown at the edges, but still there. It wasn't just a highway, it was the idea that getting somewhere was worth doing slowly, that the road between here and there was worth paying attention to, and that the stranger in the next booth at the diner might just be the most interesting person you'd ever meet. That's what we lost when the signs came down on that Thursday in 1985. Not a route, a way of being in the country. If you've ever driven Route 66, or if someone in your family did, we want to hear about it. What did you see? What did you stop for? What do you still think about? Leave it in the comments. Every single one gets read. And if this story meant something to you, subscribe. Because we make these for the people who believe the quiet stories are the ones worth telling.